general should not be given the power to mandate vaccines for three primary reasons. One is an unconstitutional overstep. It is also unnecessary, and greater caution needs to be taken when looking at vaccines and the science behind them. So we're going to start with the first and arguably most important reason why vaccines should not be mandated by the government. It is grossly unconstitutional. Our First Amendment prohibits any law limiting freedom with respect to religion. Our Ninth Amendment states that we are given other rights that are not explicitly stated in the Constitution. And the 14th Amendment states that we have equal protection under the laws. These three amendments should grant us both privacy in regards to what we decide to do medically, then should also grant us religious freedom. There's an alarming case from 1944 where it was stated that states may require vaccination regardless of religious objections. This is grossly unconstitutional and goes against those three amendments that I just stated. But despite the controversy that surrounds vaccinations, this debate might not even be necessary. According to My World in Data, over 87% of Americans agree that vaccines are important. This correlates to 87% of Americans likely getting vaccinated. And according to the CDC, only 80% of people in a population need to be vaccinated in order for something called herd immunity, which is something that Katie referred to and is the overall point of getting vaccinated. You see, we don't need the government making decisions for us. We can make them and make them wisely ourselves. So we've talked briefly about the ethics and rights behind mandation of vaccinations, but let's look at the science now. Whenever we are introducing something into our body, our very finely tuned body, there will likely be some sort of adverse effects. Many people claim that the adverse effects of vaccines aren't a big deal. I would argue otherwise. And so would this study by the National Library of Medicine, where over 100,000 children were followed over the course of 10 years. This study concluded that immunizations given to these kids after 2 months of age led to an increased risk in diabetes. There's also a link between increased risk of asthma, allergies, and some cancers that were linked to an increase in immunizations. There have also been vaccine scandals, and scandals just in the medicine business in general. Many people don't like associating the word medicine and business, but they are unfortunately similar, or they coincide, and there's a lot of money when it comes to medicine. According to the New York Times, one of the most recent scandals occurred in China, in which there was fabricated laboratory evidence in reference to a rabies vaccine. Interestingly enough, over 90% of our vaccines are produced in China. Many people who support vaccines might quote somebody like Erwin Kaminsky, who states that strong and irrefutable medical and scientific evidence demonstrates that there is no less restrictive alternative except to require every person to be vaccinated. It's important to note that people like Kaminsky here, he is employed by the University of California. And as he's a scientist for them, this university receives hundreds of millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry to bolster safety claims on vaccines. I'm not saying that we shouldn't get vaccines or that vaccines are horrible, but it's important that we know the potential risks and the potential biases of the so-called facts that support vaccines. We are the United States. We are the land of the free. But that scene that I described to you earlier at the concert venue, that's not freedom. That is an unconstitutional coercion of the United States government. I strongly believe that the government should not mandate vaccines for the three reasons I stated, in which it is unconstitutional, it is unnecessary, and we just need greater caution and information when looking into vaccines. While mandation of vaccines might not seem like the biggest deal in the world, its implications are huge. And as Patrick Henry famously said, "Give me liberty or give me death."